immediate challenge on the tariff would be basically that one, on 12th of March, the Section 232 tariffs came in, which is steel, products of steel and aluminium. So I have basically 5 months of material,
Yeah.
2 months on the steel and 3 months, which is going to get hit by 25% duty. I have no choice but to ship and negotiate with my customer. That cost is being borne by whom? Not by the bank, by the exporter. If he is continuing on this path of his, he will do damage more to his economy than plus damage to the others also. But I think a lot more to his economy.
Thank you for joining us.
Thanks a
And
lot for inviting me. Tell me.
so, let's start with the very basics. Considering that the exporters are going through uncertainties, given the conditions we are seeing, the recent uncertainties in terms of US tariffs and all, what are the immediate challenges that exporters are concerned about?
See, the immediate challenge on the tariff would be basically that one, on 12th of March, the Section 232 tariffs came in, which is steel, products of steel and aluminium, 25%, right? Those are already in place starting from 12th of March. Now, as you can see, the voyage time is basically 60 days to US.
Right.
So effectively, anything that is arriving, let's say on 15th of March,
Hmm.
would have actually left India on 15th of January,
Right.
which is before Donald Trump actually got onto his chair also. So how is he supposed to know that such a tariff would come in? So what happens to the material that is on high seas? It's 60 days void. I have $5 billion which is covered under this
Hmm.
25% tariff on Section 232. Now, out of that 5 billion, actually 60 days is on voyage,
Hmm.
which is covered. And
Hmm.
also the second factor is that I have 3 months order booking. So
Hmm.
which means that some material is on the machine, some material is packed, some material is in production, some
Hmm.
is in an order. So I have basically 5 months of material,
Yeah.
2 months on the sea and three
Hmm.
months, which is going to get hit by 25% duty. So
Hmm.
my immediate concern is who's paying that duty. That's the biggest problem at the moment. Section 232 tariffs were there, were something which I don't think is even if it's part of the BTA. I am given to understand that the BTA negotiation does not incorporate Section 232 tariff because Donald Trump does not want to negotiate on that. So if that be the case, and that is what I've heard from very reliable sources, then I guess it's here to stay. And my immediate concern is material on high seas and material in production in my factories.
So, do you see inventory building up in the near future?
No inventory, no, because my simple thing is US orders are purely based on US,
Hmm.
right? So they are
Hmm.
based on US means they are based on inch sizes. One,
Hmm.
the US works on inches, not millimeter.
Hmm.
US works on pounds in not kilograms. US works on feet, not meters.
Hmm.
So these orders are US specific. I have no option. I have to ship. I actually have no choice. Whatever orders I have in hand, I have no choice but to ship and negotiate with my customer. If
Right.
he can take the entire 25% or 15, 10, 10, 12 and a half, 12 and a half, whatever. But it has to go through.
What are the issues in terms of credit, and what are the issues in terms of bank loans and things like that?
See, as far as the bank loans, collateral free, I don't think there's anything like a collateral free. There's a scheme for 5 crores borrowing.
Hmm.
That I think is collateral free. But if you look at the other,
Hmm.
now previously there used to be a scheme where banks covered their loan exposure to MSMEs by getting a credit guarantee from the ECGC to
Yes.
the extent of their
Hmm. Hmm.
at that time, they could get an exposure to a credit guarantee to cover 60% of their loans.
Hmm.
So what happened was when at that point came in, banks used to ask for 40% collateral because they knew that 60% they could get from ECTC.
Hmm.
Then the Commerce Ministry came up with a scheme and said, no, we must help MSMEs. So they increased that coverage from 60 to 85%
Hmm.
that the bank can cover with ECGC. Right. Now, naturally, ECGC covering a higher percentage means there's a cost involved.
Mhm.
That cost is being borne by whom? Not by the bank, by the exporter. Because pre-shipment ECGC premium is being borne by the exporter. Two, it's not that the bank got covered by 85%, he returned back your collateral. He still kept the collateral. He just, the basically, that 85% cover that he's got secures him more at my cost. Where is the logic in it?
I was going
He's
through
getting an
the
85% cover, the bank,
right.
but he neither has he returned back my collateral.
Mm.
And the cost, the additional cost, or the cost of that securing that 85% collateral cover is also borne by the exporter. So I'm not too sure whether a collateral free beyond 5 crores is actually theoretically I can see it, but practically no. It's going to be a negotiation between the bank and the borrower depending upon how the bank's experiences with the borrower, what sort of comfort level he has. If he has a comfort level, he will anyway give it lesser collateral. But it is all based on the comfort, the experience,
Excretion.
the relationship between the bank and the borrower. I don't think it's anything to do with the government giving something.
Also, last year, if you look at the last financial year data, I think bank credit to exporters, that credit has also sort of come down. What are the issues?
Yes, come down.
Why are banks shying away from giving credit, from offering credit to exporters? What is the reason?
I can only assume that the banks feel it's maybe more risky. I mean, that's a subject which you have to ask the banks, why aren't they giving us credit? We want to take the credit. Maybe
Mm.
exporters are shying for too much of credit, but at the end of the day, I can only assume that the banks have alternate lending avenues. So the lending to the MSME exporter has come down because of that. I see the banks chasing more of retail loans than an MSME exporter.
Have you brought up this issue with the government authorities, with the relevant authorities?
Yes, as the issue of collateral has
Reassurance.
been pointed out,
Hmm.
has been pointed out, definitely. And it's also been pointed out that the last year's lending to MSME exports was lesser than the previous year,
Mhm.
despite the fact that the export has gone up.
So going ahead, what are the exporters sort of planning to do to mitigate risks? Of course, US bilateral trade agreement, the negotiations are on, but apart from that, what will be your strategy going ahead?
We have tried to bifurcate it into a couple of things. One, as far as the de-risk strategy is concerned, what we have said is that we will have to go to countries which are, let's say, graded C. Like if you go from US, we go down to Central America, there's Latin America. So these countries we'll have to sell to.
Right.
And then we have to do North Africa, West Africa, countries which have a far greater risk. So we have asked ECGC to be a little more liberal in granting credit limits on these countries, subject to definitely they having a due diligence done. And we don't say that you should just throw away your money, but
Mm.
subject to due diligence, yes, that is one aspect that we have looked at. We have also looked at asking the government that we need to sign BTAs with EU and in other countries.
Right. Thank you so much for talking to us. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.